Donnie, oh Donnie Jr., you have made a fool of me.
I hate the learning curve. It took me 6 days. 6 days to make the Citizen Kane that was my first vid. Fuck you. If you're laughing, I had to learn how to use iMovie. All kinds of shit broke loose. A lot having to do with the son of our president.
Why, Donnie? Why?
Anyway, I'm sitting there, I'm tinkering away gnome-like trying to make this first video. At the time, I fully believed that there was nothing at all to the whole Russian collusion thing.
Nothing.
And more on that in a second. But here's what I had to say then. It's not like CNN just had to retract and apologize for a story that falsely claimed that a Trump associate had unethical banking dealings with the Russians. And this is after more than half a year of pushing this ridiculous narrative that somehow Trump colluded with the Russians. Oh, you stupid Abercrombie and Fitch looking mother... But it gets worse. The first person from whom I heard about this Russian collusion was Robbie Mook. That's right, Robbie, I've got my finger on the pulse of the international foreign intelligence community, Mook. Clinton's campaign manager, this fucking idiot. And, he just happened to find out about this. Somehow, Robbie Mook just has, his ear to the ground. So anyway, it turns out that while I was carefully crafting my opus, Donnie Jr. was releasing all of his emails, because apparently he had met with a Russian lawyer who presented herself as being an agent of the Russian government or in some way connected to get opposition research on Clinton. Now, does this mean that...
Oh my God, Trump has been colluding with the Russians all along. Trump and the Russians hacked the DNC servers and gave it to WikiLeaks.
No, it doesn't mean any of that. But I'll tell you what, it doesn't look good. Oh, I suspect that the White House has gotten a lot chillier for poor Donald Jr. in recent days. Because what this means is that no matter what, Mueller's investigation is just going to go on forever now. Hey, but don't take my word for it. Let's look at the actual emails. Okay, so here are the emails that Donald Jr. released. They are between himself and one Mr. Rob Goldstone, who, according to the New York Times, is a tabloid journalist and an entertainment publicist.
Good morning. Emin just called and asked me to contact you with something very interesting. The Crown Prosecutor of Russia met with his father, Aris, this morning, and in their meeting offered to provide the Trump campaign with some official documents and information that would incriminate Hillary and her dealings with Russia, and would be very useful to your father. This is obviously very high-level and sensitive information, but is part of Russia and its government's support for Mr. Trump, helped along by Aras and Emin. What do you think is the best way to handle this information, and would you be able to speak to Emin about it directly? I can also send this info to your father via Rona, but it is ultra-sensitive, so wanted to send it to you first.
Oh, God.
Best, Rob Goldstone.
Okay, so what does this tell us? One, whether or not it's true, Donald Jr. met with someone under the pretext that they were representative of the Russian government, and that this was going to be a high-level meeting where sensitive information was going to be exchanged, information that was going to incriminate the Hillary campaign. And after the uranium deal, she absolutely did have a cozy relationship with the Kremlin, but we'll talk about that in just a second. But this email is really bad. I mean, it shows that Don Jr. was willing to meet under this pretext, and that he was psyched for it. Now, it's bad because the Trump administration from the beginning has denied everything, said that there was
No collusion whatsoever.
And that may yet seem more plausible and honest in a little bit. We're going to go into that. But right on the face of it, this is a meeting, whether or not anything happened, this was a meeting that was sold to Don Jr. as being with Russian officials at a high level. So it shows that no matter what, they had the motive, they had the willingness to go to these people and meet. Whether or not that's wrong, again, we'll talk about in just a second. The second thing that it shows us in that this little butterball can go by the back door and Rona, apparently, Rona can slip a note to the Trumpster. Who the fuck is Rona? So what it does show is that this is a dude who has direct lines of communication with the president, and because this is his son, Trump's deniability becomes a lot less plausible. Now, I'm saying this as a Trump supporter. If you don't call out the people you love, if you don't call out the people who are going to
make America great again,
then who are you going to call out? You know, Obama got away with everything because the people who supported him, myself included, we'll talk about that later, were asleep at the wheel. So I'm going to cut this off here. We're going to pick it up in part 2. You know, again, I want to apologize for my video making skills. I am super new at this. If you got any feedback or advice, go ahead, leave it in the comments.